Hey guys, welcome to Lagrange United. Welcome to another video, and today is bear with me please. It's gonna be a difficult video to make, and I just wanted to, because I came across this video, this like more like an interview with Pep Guardiola, former Barcelona and Bayern Munich coach, also a former Barcelona player, and it was an interview that he considered like 90 minutes. The title is 90 minutes with Pep Guardiola. It's in Spanish. I encourage all of you that know Spanish or that want to like just like go ahead and watch it, because there's especially a good amount of stuff that is interesting to touch in detail. But the thing that really grabbed my headlines on that interview was around the minute 45 of the video, 46 maybe, where it was about why someone was asking Pep Guardiola why did you sign, or what are the conditions that makes Manchester City the club where you're gonna have the longest lasting run as a manager. And his responses were pretty surprising, because if I am being honest with you, and I think that most of you guys are gonna be able to agree after I tell you the reasons, are things that were perfectly doable, not only for Barcelona but for Bayern Munich too. Like, there are some like unbelievable things, especially as a Barcelona fan. I have to feel like a little bit of a disgrace, because it's, again, not only bad decisions from the board, but bad decisions from the fans. I've said it again and again, fans have a lot of power in what goes on in the club, and especially at Barcelona and teams like Real Madrid. We the fans have a lot of power, and if we want something to happen, we can make it happen. So that Guardiola's left Barcelona is also on us, and we have to take responsibility for it. Now, the reasons that Guardiola said that he's going into his fourth season with Manchester City and has a contract running until 2022 are that, one, he has the most important person in his career in Manchester City, Chiqui Beheristain, who gave him the first chance as a coach, that trusted in him with Johan Cruyff and Laporta to give an opportunity as a first team coach at Barcelona, to have a club that supports him no matter what, that is just not all about winning or losing. Like, if you're good if you're winning, you're bad if you're losing. No, he got trusted with everything. He got trusted on other things, and I'll be going more in depth about it. I have a young team, which is obviously very important, and something that you guys see me complain a lot about lately. Barcelona, how we're setting up things for the future, that he feels appreciated. When he said that, I felt in complete disgrace. And the last thing was that he can focus on training during the week with the squad instead of having to deal with constant abuse from the media, or having to deal with the media. Now, I'm going to talk about it in depth, every point. There is 5 points that I'll be talking about in depth, every point, and how we had it, or how we should have had it, should we have all of those things, and why Pep Guardiola by this day today should probably still be the coach of Barcelona, taking results out of the equation. Let's start with the first thing. He says that the most important person in his career is Chiqui. Well, Chiqui Beheristain was the sporting director at Barcelona when Guardiola was there. When he first started, he was there, and I believe he left Barcelona in the 2011 season when Bartomeu came into the club. I mean, first Rosell came in and then Bartomeu, but the same kind of board instated themselves that year, and well, they decided to sack Chiqui, and well, that's one point there. But let's say that this is the sporting director that Guardiola wanted, someone that had previously won us a treble and has had a fantastic La Liga season the year after. We have fantastic performances from Lionel Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, good promotion from Pedro to the first team, Dani Alves giving fantastic performances, Puyol and Piqué absolutely amazing. And the next point is, I have a club that doesn't judge him on wins and loses alone, on his performances. He gets judged on performances at Manchester City. He has a club that's gonna back him to the end, that he is the leader of the project, that put all their trust in him. Any player at Manchester City is disposable, but the only thing in Manchester City that's not disposable is Pep Guardiola. If it was up to Manchester City, I am guaranteeing you that they will give him a 10-year contract for how good he is, for what they know that they can get out with him. Because they have everything to be a successful club, and to be honest, Manchester City in 30 years time can become one of the best clubs in history. And this might be very early days to say something like this, but Barcelona kind of started this way when Johan Cruyff took over Barcelona. When we started winning in 1990, by the 2000s we were in a really good trajectory. We started winning some league titles, we won the Champions League and some things like that. And I believe Manchester City, if they can work well and if they can choose their managers well and choose their projects really well, they could become one of the best teams in history by 2030 maybe. They are doing everything that you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to form a really good club. The thing is that at Barcelona, Pep Guardiola was always judged, if you're winning, you're good, if you're losing, you're bad. And on an instance, that might seem like a logical way of thinking, but in reality, if you're losing, you're not necessarily bad, and if you are winning, you're not necessarily good. Want me to put one example? Let's put the 2 games of Barcelona against Liverpool in this past year's semi-final. In the first leg, Barcelona won by a score of 3-0 and were horrible, and they did not deserve to win by 3-0 at all. The same goes against that second leg in the Copa del Rey against Real Madrid, where we won 3-0 as well. We were just lucky. The opponents didn't put anything away, and we were lucky to get away with anything in that leg. And Liverpool, who lost in that game 3-0, in the other leg there was an exact reflection of what should have happened, which was we got battered. And we didn't get battered because of Jordi Alba. We did not get battered because of the last goal in the corner kick. We got battered because we were doing things horrendously. Just that when the luck is like on point and not completely towards you, and things are not going all your way and against the other team, then things really shine a light. So that is an example of winning is not necessarily always good and losing is not necessarily always bad. It's how you're doing things, how you're working your project. Are you losing, but are you playing well? Basically, he was also asked in a point of the interview, he said that he had games in the Champions League where the Iniestazo, where we took one shot and it went in, and that won us the tie. But we took 30 shots in the semifinals, I believe, against Inter Milan, and we lost. Or it might have been against Chelsea. We took 30 shots, we created 30 opportunities, and we lost the tie in that game. And we won with one shot in the other game. And he said, I won to have a replica of the game where we created 30 chances, because by probability, if you repeat that game over and over again, the probability is that the more chances you create, the more goals you will score, and therefore the more games you will win. So if you were to do that 3-0 first leg in the Camp Nou of Barcelona against Liverpool, Liverpool, by probability, should have won, at least in my opinion, 70% of those games. So 7 out of every 10 games, Liverpool should have won. So, which says a lot to what I think, how poorly we were playing during the season overall. Going to the next point, I have a young team, especially saying that he was constantly being asked in the interview, like, or at least like, why did you, like, you normally spend a lot of money in forwards, that's normally what big teams do, but you seem to spend all your money in defenders. Well, he said, I have really old, like, I had like 4 fullbacks over 30 years old. I had like Vincent Company, who was very injury concerned. Like, I believe he said he had like 11 first team players over the age of 30. And he said the team needed to be renewed. The team needed to get younger. Coincidentally, if we look at Barcelona, we can see how many players of the first team 11 are over 30, and you start seeing concerns. What are we doing? We're definitely not getting the team younger. That's for one. Or at least not as we should be doing. Like, he went ahead and bought Kyle Walker, Benjamin Mendy, Stones, Laporte, Ederson. All these players that he needed, he bought. He bought necessities. He spent a lot of money, but he bought necessities that were crucial for him. He didn't go ahead. The only player that he signed that I believe was extra, that he shouldn't have signed, is Riyad Mahrez. Yet, that was the only signing last season, and perfectly worked in the economy of the club. So he has a young team, and he repeatedly said this. Like, there was even a point in the interview where he said, do you think that this core of Barcelona players, because he was talking about how important the press is for his philosophy and for the philosophy of dominating games through possession. Well, he was asked, do you think this current crop of Barcelona players, like the ones that you brought in, the big weights of the squad, do you think that they're able to perform such a press the whole season? And how easily he was answering those questions, he took a good 3 to 5 seconds to say, I mean, I'm just gonna replicate his answer in a way that you can understand. His answer was something like this. Yeah, they're very capacitated, Not very convincing in my opinion. That is not an answer that will fill me out of confidence. Like, yes, he's not going to say no. Messi can't press because he's over 30. Suarez seems to have lost a leg because he's over 30. And he has had a couple injuries. Busquets and Rakitic obviously do not have the legs to press. No, he's not going to say that. He's going to say, yes, they're great players. They won the league last season. They've been the most consistent team. They won 8 of the last 11 La Ligas. Yes, he's going to say something like that. But he wasn't as convincing as saying, yes, this team can perfectly press perfectly all the time. Ernesto Valverde is a perfectly competent manager. No, he said, I talk often with Ernesto, and he's the one at the end of the day that knows his team, and he will decide if they're able to do so or not. Which, by we've been able to see, Ernesto Valverde is completely aware that the team is not able to press, therefore he drops 2 lines of 4 and sits back and counters. So we definitely do not have the ability to press as we should have the whole season. The 4th point is, I feel appreciated. And this is nauseating to hear. That he feels appreciated in Manchester City, yet obviously at Bayern Munich he didn't feel appreciated because there was always an attack on him that, oh, you're only reaching the semifinals. Well, Bayern Munich, since Pep Guardiola's left, you've only reached the semifinals once. And you can, like reaching the Champions League semifinals every year, that's great. That's where the big teams should be every season. I wish if Barcelona reached semifinals with decency, playing decent football every year, I'll be happy. Because the difference between being in the semifinal and winning the competition is of 3 games. It's a very small margin of error, and I can understand mistakes during that point of the competition. So, And at Barcelona, obviously, he did not feel appreciated. And this is something that's gonna go in tandem with the other point, which is I can focus on training with the squad instead of having to deal with the media. And these two things go in tandem because at Barcelona, since Nunez and Cruyff, there has been something that's called Cruyffism and Nunezism. People that are pro Cruyff and people that are pro Nunez, which means some people in like the club is divided into two factors where people want to develop the idea of Cruyff and some other people want to go the way that Nunez was doing things, which was more buying superstar players, doing some other things that are not particularly what I would do. Not disrespecting Nunez by any sort of imagination. He's been probably one of the best presidents in Barcelona's history. With Laporta, I mean, for me, he's been the second best president after Laporta. Results and their titles say that. Like the titles explain how good his reign was at Barcelona. But basically, this is the case where we are in an era where all the Catalan media, where all the Barcelona media is clearly pro Nunez, because every time that someone that is emulating anything close to like Johan Cruyff, anything having to do with Johan Cruyff, Pep Guardiola, someone that obviously respects Johan Cruyff a lot, Luis Enrique, someone that has a very, defined personality and that played a very like similar way to how Pep Guardiola played, adding his own thing, his own touch to the team. Well, how coincidentally that they're the ones that get attacked in the media. Ernesto Valverde, who doesn't do any controversial statements, that doesn't do anything that's particularly too bad or too polemic. He doesn't get asked these like nasty questions that Valverde, that Luis Enrique and Guardiola constantly get asked in the media. Oh, you lost? Why did you lose? Why did you lose? Like, oh, it was your tactics? Like, one thing that I really like, this thing about feeling appreciated happened to both Guardiola and Luis Enrique. With Guardiola, it was, whenever you won, it was because of Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta. And whenever Luis Enrique won, it was because of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. But whenever you lost, it was the coach's fault. How coincidentally that whenever you win is because of the players, and whenever you lose is because of it's your fault. Like, it's not the case. Either you win by the players and lose by the players, or you win by the manager and lose by the manager. What I want to say here is that the manager needs to be the most important part of the team, because the manager's concern is always going to be winning. He's the person most motivated to win out of everyone, because his career depends on it. Messi's career, Neymar's, all these great players, any player's career doesn't depend on how good they on winning. It depends on just working, and if they don't succeed, they will get a transfer and go somewhere else, or they can try again next season. A manager has a very short span of how much they can not succeed. Like, they need to reach those goals that are set to them. Therefore, their stand in world football is going to diminish. So always trust in the manager and not in the players. So let's put it this way: I'm making this video, and I'm especially making this video so whenever we have another case of Guardiola, Luis Enrique, I'm hoping that that's going to be Xavi. But let's say Xavi becomes the next big Barcelona manager. Let's look at this and let's see our mistakes and try not to repeat them. We've made a mistake with Guardiola clearly, but we have a chance to not make it again, because we see what we've done wrong, and then we can not do it again. Sadly, I don't think this is gonna happen. I think even if we have a great manager, the moment that they start losing, everything's gonna go to shit, and it's not enjoyable to see. This is not the way that I think the club should be run by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I just hope that we can look back and see the manager is the most important thing. And I'm just gonna put a really quick example that if you give me a choice between having 10 years of Guardiola and 10 years of Lionel Messi, I would take 10 years of Guardiola, because let's put this past 10 years, literally since the 2008 2009 season to the 2018 2019 season. I'm sure that Guardiola, with control over everything, basically the way Manchester City is given in power, if he was able to do whatever he wanted, I'm sure that he wins the same amount of titles that we've won right now without him, or more, or even more. We probably would have won 1 or 2 more Champions Leagues. We would have probably won 1 more La Liga, maybe two. That one we lost against Atletico was really slim. The one we lost against Zidane's Real Madrid was very, very slim. Like, there was a lot of mistakes during that season, and yet we only finished 3 points behind them. So there, I think, and why do I say this? I am not saying that Lionel Messi is not very important for our history. I'm not saying that. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think Guardiola would have done more to our success than what Lionel Messi has done. And considering that Lionel Messi is constantly being changing games for us and being so decisive for us, imagine the impact that I'm so confident on saying that the manager is so much more important than the player. Because it is. Because at the end of the day, the players don't know any tactical way of organizing a team until they've actually become managers and tried it on their own. Therefore, trust in the manager and give him the powers. If you're gonna put a manager in charge, make him the head of the team. There is a reason that the most successful teams in world football right now are Manchester City and Liverpool, because they are the 2 teams with the best projects around, which is the project of Jurgen Klopp, who is the leader of his team, and Pep Guardiola, who is the leader of his team. If Real Madrid or Manchester United, Manchester United, clearly that's an example. Alex Ferguson didn't always win titles every season, but because he was the head of the team, a player could come and go, but he would remain because he was the head of the project. If Real Madrid happened to have had a manager, let's say Fernando Hierro happens to come to Barcelona, and he wins them a treble in his first season, and then a few Copas del Rey, La Ligas, and Champions League during that period, during a 4-stint period. They're like, Florentino Perez gives that manager a 10-year lifespan to do whatever the hell he wants and do as much as he wants with the club, because he knows that he will deliver success. And we had that at Barcelona, and we let it go. This is my reflection on the case of Pep Guardiola and how important it is for Barcelona to, and for every team pretty much. This is an example that everything can take into account, but especially for Barcelona, because I'm a Barcelona fan and I'm interested in Barcelona's success, and we need to be together when we have a manager, support him in every way possible. At the end of the season, at the end of his tenure, we can decide if he's been good enough or not, and take a decision then. During the season, and when the things are being decided, when the big games are being decided, let's all be together and go all for one. If a manager doesn't ask for a player, you don't go ahead and sign that player. If a manager doesn't want to do something in a particular way and it's based on an argument, you don't go ahead and do that. Give him the trust that he needs. You give him the tools that he needs to win the trophies and compete at the highest level. Especially that, compete at the highest level. If Xavi happens to train Barcelona and be our next successful manager, let's give him everything, all the trust that he needs to be able to take this club to be one of the most successful clubs in world football, if it isn't already. With all said and done, leave me your opinions in the comment section below. Do you think Guardiola should have stayed? Do you think that we should have done things better with him? Do you think I'm just being paranoid and that there is other things behind it? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, Blaugranas.